Hey everybody, Barry Kleiman. I took not that anybody's necessarily watching or keeping score, but I took a pretty long break from Facebook Live and from a bunch of things that I had been doing in my life. Again, not that anybody's keeping score, but because I'd made such a commitment earlier to be as present as I could for the cause that I care about, I'm just kind of catching up here with everybody. I took a break between the division caused by elections. And again, I'm not taking sides. I have opinions, but it just divided us all. It's going to be really very interesting to see. Half of us are wrong. It's real simple. Half of us are somewhere around half are wrong. And it'll be interesting to see how that all shakes out and then which one of us, which grouping admits that they were in error. Um, and again, it's okay. We're imperfect people. We're an imperfect species. But in either case, taking accountability is a big part of how we could all improve. I know it is for me. I decided to become accountable to myself. And so when I took this break, um, it was exacerbated by the LA fires. My LA family was had to evacuate twice. They're fine, and actually, it's all worked out. But on two different occasions, they had to evacuate. Some very close and old friends were within yards of losing their entire home. My family's school teachers lost homes. It was all very distracting, and so again, took a break. But along the break, I I kicked off a project that I just completed the other day, and I put it in the title of this thing called the Playground Principles. And I had been for the longest time wanting to write a book about the playground principles. I describe myself in the book as a 74-year-old kid from the Philly playground. Uh, Call me what you will. Interpret that as you will. That is how I think of myself. I'm definitely old, but with still levels of maturity that go back to that date, but also some of the lessons from there. And so I sat down and started to write this book, and I did it with the help of so many people. If I forget some of you, I'm sorry, but Troy Slaver and Michael Brown, Coach Ray Scott, Charlie Rosen, Howard Mosky. Um, I'm going to forget some of you, and I apologize. But I reached out to Mark Epstein. I reached out to a bunch of people and asked them for their help, for starters, for their perspectives from their playgrounds. Because to me, the lessons of the playground are evergreen. And as I tell so many people, we grew up on the same playground, maybe 5 years or 3,000 miles apart. Because the lessons of the playground are for all of us who grew up and you know, understood what was socially acceptable on asphalt courts really to me still translates to this day. 50 years later, it translated to my entire consulting and remains attached to my consulting practice because there are some basic human fundamentals of connection and behavior and ways of being that uh, were true then and true now, as my friend Spike Humor likes to say. So I'm very grateful to have the opportunity for all of you in my life. I made a cover for the book. I think it's my Facebook Live cover now, or my Facebook page cover now. Attribution to my friend Jay Salmon, who drew that beautiful painting of those chucks hanging over a wire and allowed me to use it for the cover. Nobody does anything by themselves, and I think this is a really important thing for all of us to understand. So giving attribution, saying thank you, I talk about it in the book. Um, give a fist bump. Don't walk into the playground with a clenched fist, per my friend Coach Ray Scott, who I had the pleasure of speaking with yesterday. Ray offered to write the forward of my book, but at the moment he's not going to be able to do it. But I know he and I will do a video coverage of it. But we spoke yesterday about all the lessons that the playground taught us. I did a little interview the other day with my friend Ted Pedromo. He said, "Well, tell me a playground principle." I said, "Compete but don't cheat." So these were all kind of generic. Generic's probably the wrong word, but they were evergreen. I mean, they were that way from Kansas City to New York City. Michael Brown played in the NBA, but he equated to some of the same things. And Michael's a far better player. Mosky, way better than I ever was or ever hoped to be. But these principles of sharing the ball and being a great teammate and understanding you got to wait your turn and then optimize your turn when you got it, and playing the right way. Winners stay on, but you got to play the right way. You again compete, but don't cheat. And complaining without a solution is whining, and whining will not get you very far in the playground. Being a victim, we see victims all over the news cycle now. Not going to get you very far in the playground. In fact, it'll probably wind up hurting you more than you realize. There's always somebody bigger, faster, stronger in the playground. And these are all important lessons that I cover anecdotally in the book, and equate them to some of the lessons that, again, I learned in my life. I shared with clients for decades. In the book, I equated many of these things because not everybody plays basketball or played basketball, obviously. But again, the lessons are evergreen. And throughout the book, I cite um, parallel examples from people like Stephen Covey and Peter Senji and Peter Drucker and Bruce Springsteen and so many other people who's, in the book I talk about, the playground really for us was their first laboratory of connection, right? Like that's how we learned. That's how we learned to get along, how you to say what not say, how to say it, and understand again. Because you can get up in anybody's nose all you want, but you better be ready to understand what happens as a byproduct or find a better way to figure it out. We had no refs. You called your own fouls, and you had to figure out which ones were worth calling and which ones were worth leaving alone, and how that affected who you were and how you were perceived. So I'm excited to. I'm already going a little bit long with this one, but I'm excited to share the concepts of the book. Anybody, it's not published yet. Like I said, I just made the cover. I will be more than glad to send anybody, certainly any of my Facebook friends, a copy of the book. Um, when it's completed, I'll start with an ebook. And at the end of the day, it might not mean anything to anybody. I get that. But, one of the playground principles is compete. Compete, but don't cheat. And do what you can. When you have your opportunity to play hard and play the right way. This book and the time and the energy and the resources and the people who've helped me, Dr. Angela Sutton, Dr. Teresa, so many people, um, I did it because I didn't want to whine. I didn't want to complain about our condition. I wanted to offer some semblance of action, right? Of what maybe I could do to take a spin on what's happening and put perspective about what's happening. Because I will tell you, and anybody who's ever played in the playground will tell you, ultimately it's evergreen. It all comes back to these principles. And if not, we're in really bad shape as a culture. So that's it. Please feel free to write to me. I'll put my email address and gladly send you a copy. The playground principles matter. Again, whether you ever were on an asphalt court or not, they matter in your family room. They matter in the boardroom. They matter wherever you go. And again, you don't have to just play basketball. Ask Dr. Covey. Ask Peter Senji. Ask Drucker. They're the same. Human nature is human nature is human nature. I hope we can all figure all this stuff out. But again, if we don't point fingers and try to find solutions, we're going to be better off. Uh, I'm excited to be back. I hope some of this makes sense, and I will offer you to stay safe, everybody. Thank you.